There's lovely chaps at EricHill emailed me and asked me if I'd like to have a look at one of their pinless moisture meters. And as I didn't have one, I said yes, I'd love to have a look at one, thanks very much. And in return for giving me one of their pinless moisture meters, I'd make a little video for them. And this is said video. Now there's an awful lot of videos already on YouTube about moisture meters, and they all go into great detail about all the things that I don't really think are relevant. I'm going to cover them off, but really quickly. So here goes. Pay attention, don't blink. It comes in a box. In the box you get the moisture meter with batteries and a bag to keep the moisture meter in and a book of words. So that's the packaging bit covered. That's what you get for your money. And at the time of recording this, I think this is available on Amazon for 22 or 24 quid. So it's a budget moisture meter. Okay, cool. Now, prior to receiving this, the chaps at EricHill sent me one of their pinned moisture meters, the little tiddly one, which I really love. It's fantastic, small enough to keep in your pocket and works a treat. So I'm expecting exactly the same from this one. Simple set of buttons on the front, set it into the mode you want, hardwood, softwood, concrete, and stick it on the wood and away you go. And everything should be great. But it's left me with loads of questions. First of all, let's make sure we follow the instructions correctly. For maximum accuracy, press the sensing area against the flat surface of the material. It's recommended to measure material at least 30 mm thick. If the material is too thin, the instrument will measure the material underneath it and produce inaccurate readings. One way to compensate for too thin material is to stack the measurement material. And then item number 3, make sure you are using it to measure moisture. So following those 3 simple instructions, I want to measure the moisture content in these 3 pieces of hardwood. These 3 pieces have all been in the workshop for a reasonable amount of time. This piece has been in the workshop for 5 months, I want to say. This piece probably 3 months. This piece getting on for 12 months. Now, they were all bought as kiln dried timber, so I'm expecting low readings on all of these. But let's follow those instructions and use this meter to measure the moisture content on these pieces. So one short press to turn it on, and just note the fact that I've got it in hardwood measuring mode, not in any of the other modes, and you simply pop it on top of the timber you want to measure and it will give you a reading. So that's telling me that piece of maple is at 12% moisture content. I don't believe that. This piece is over 30 mm thick, it's about 35 mm thick. But watch what happens when I put my hand under the timber. So that tells me that this device is measuring through that 35 mm piece of timber through to whatever's behind it. So that means I need to be really careful when I use it. And let's move on and do the same with the Purple Heart. So again, the Purple Heart is reading really high, 16.2. That's unusable. But again, if I put my hand underneath it, it goes up. This is thicker, this is over 40 mm thick. And finally, let's do the cherry. Now, the cherry's the only piece that comes out somewhere in the ballpark of what I'm expecting. 7.8%. The cherry's 50 mm thick. But even on that, if I put my hand underneath, it's still altering the reading. So if I now move that meter back over the bench, so that's now reading 7.9% sat over the bench. If I put my hand near the unit, it reads 9.6%. If I do the same with the Purple Heart now reads 17%. If my hand touches the unit, it goes up to 18.7%. So I'm going to turn the unit off. That's enough to make me stop and probably send the unit back claiming that it's faulty. So at this point, I'm going to stop recording this video I'm going to package that little bit of video up and send it to EricHill and ask them to explain, and hopefully they'll come back with something that I can share with you, and we'll find out whether that's faulty or whether I'm using it wrongly or whether that's what I should expect. So a few seconds for you, but a few days for me. And in that time, I wrapped up the video content that you've just seen and sent a link to it to my contact at EricHill, along with an email that said the following. Hi Jane, been working with the moisture meter. I've started recording, but I've got some questions that I'd like answered. I wonder if you'd be so kind as to share this with your tech team and give me some feedback, answer the questions raised so that I can add that into the video. And this is the response I received. I consulted the tech department and was told that the pinless moisture meters work via an electromagnetic sensor pad that comes into contact with the wood surface. The human body comes with the electromagnetic field as well, so when your hand is put near the device, the readings will be affected. Best regards. So just to recap then, the manual states that you should only measure timber of 30mm thickness or above, and if your timber is less than 30mm thick, you should stack more pieces of the same timber together to get an accurate reading. Okay, so piece of maple 35mm thick, piece of purple heart 40mm thick, piece of cherry 50 to 53mm thick. So I'll take my moisture meter, one short press to turn it on, make sure it's set to hardwood and it's registering 0%, drop it on top of my maple with nothing underneath, it's giving me a 12% reading. If I put anything underneath, the reading will change. In this case with my hand, the reading goes to 14.5. If I put my hand anywhere near the top of it, it will change the reading, so I need to keep my hand completely away from it. If I then turn the piece on its edge and drop the moisture meter on there, I get a 6% reading, which is what I expected to see, something between 6 and 8. Let's do the same with the purple heart. Again, making sure the meter's reading 0%, drop it on top of the purple heart. I get a reading of 13.5. Anything underneath alters the reading. Put my hand anywhere near the top, alters the reading. If I then take the moisture meter and drop it on the edge of the purple heart, again, I get a reading more along the lines of what I'd expect to see for a kiln-dried piece of timber, 7.5%. Again, meter at 0, drop it on top of the cherry, 7.8%. Anything behind the cherry alters the reading. Put my hand near the moisture meter, alters the reading. And if I turn the cherry on its edge, then my moisture reading is 4.6. Actually quite a bit lower than I expected to see. So as you heard from the reply to the email, the tech department, the people that know how the thing's made, say it relies on an electromagnetic field. Okay, no issues with that. But from the demonstration that I've just given, my conclusion is that the electromagnetic field is a bit too strong and that the unit itself isn't shielded in any way to protect from the human hand in and above the unit. So I suspect the field isn't directional, if that's even possible. I don't know. But that does mean I need to be really careful using that meter when I test the timber, making sure that it's thick enough, that there's nothing behind it, that I take my hand away from it. So in summary, for my usage of a moisture meter, I think that's a little bit fiddly to use. But you've got to draw your own conclusions and decide whether that's a worthwhile expenditure for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments, especially if you think I'm using it wrong, should be doing something different, or I'm being far too fussy. Please let me know below. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time. Ta-ra.